everybody, how are you? This is so exciting. We're here. We did it. Welcome to Guitar Hunter Live. 25,000 people. That is shocking. It is... Encoding overloaded, consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoding preset. Okay, well, I've never seen that before. So, how did it sound? Great sounds to start. This is my Paget Model 1. We're going to talk a lot about this guitar later. But this is a guitar that I didn't know existed when I started this YouTube channel, and I cannot believe that this guitar is now mine. And so yes, restring classical. Already sweaty. You're already sweaty from... I sweat a lot when I just think. Like if I'm concentrating on something, it's kind of embarrassing, especially like putting in stuff in our house. Like years ago, when we bought this house, a couple years ago, we bought this house and we bought a bunch of IKEA furniture, and I was putting all the furniture together, and it just like, when I concentrate, I pour sweat. It was shameful and hilarious. Guitar sound time. What's my hillbilly guitar? Oh, that was bad. Hello from Sweden. Hello from Northern Canada. Hello from Franklin, Tennessee. It's about to rain. T-Math says. Hello from Indianapolis, Indiana. That's so fun. Fret Level Midnight. Hello from Germany. Everybody, guys, this is exciting. I'm very thankful that you're here. And Mark from Bristol, Virginia, not too far from Harrisonburg. Yeah, that's about as far as you can be before you're in Tennessee from us. What mic am I using? Sounds pretty dope, especially if you're capturing your guitar. So right out of frame right here. Sorry I touched it. Might be a little noisy. I have a Deity. So we're going to talk about the studio here in a bit and how I'm doing what I'm doing. But in there I have, so it's a shotgun mic, a ribbon mic. Works really well for audio. That video I did this week, the reverb, do I regret leaving reverb? I figured out a really good setting to get the mic. I mean, it is just right out of the frame here. And so anyway, who else is here? South Jersey. So it is, I'll answer the question properly. So this is, it's the Deity, it's the V2? It's their Sennheiser equivalent. It's a great mic. It actually, Deity has amazing customer service. So basically the mic I use on my camera every day for YouTube videos, sorry, when I get stressed out, my eye twitches and I feel a little stressed today. which is not how it should be. I should feel excited. But anyway, DDR reached out and I said, hey, my mic broke. Is there any way you can give me another one? And they said, actually, we love your channel. We can help. How about we just send you another mic for your overhead? So I have this amazing NTG, whatever this model is. I think there's a link in the description down below. But I'm glad it sounds really good. That was kind of the mission of today, is to kind of have the camera set up so you can see a bunch of guitars behind me and I can kind of walk back and forth. But we'll also talk about guitars in this channel and how it got to be where it is and where it's headed in the future. So that's what mic we're using. Fret level, yeah, because I was playing acoustic. That's true. I don't always, but acoustic guitars, electric guitars take so much imagination for me. I feel like I'm always imagining a bass line, imagining a drummer, and yeah, and I ripped my pedal board apart, so I haven't been as good about. I need to put my pedal board back together. I am drinking some coffee today. This is a video I've been meaning to make for like a year since I launched the Broad Porch Coffee and Jeremy the Guitar Hunter collaboration coffee. It's Brazilian roastwood, which it is a pun, but it's also delicious. This is amazing roasted coffee, Brazilian beans, roasted by dear friends in the Shenandoah Valley. And so anyway, on that guitar, I'm using, what are they? They're the new Diodario, those white ones, the XS. I don't like them very much. They're very zingy, very trebly. They're even more trebly than Elixir NanoWeb Foster Bronze. So anyway, the coffee is delicious, and it is one of the easiest ways that you can support people that I care about. My friend Phil, he's one of my neighbors, and he makes amazing coffee. It's delicious. It's wonderful. I'm also drinking it out of a Gruen Guitars mug, and I really love Gruen. Not a sponsor. Wish they were a sponsor. Sure, I'll hang out with those guys. I love Gruen Guitars. I've got a video in the works that'll come out here soon for this. So, with all of that said, let's talk about the fact that there are 25,000 people subscribed to this YouTube channel. That blows my mind. I did not ever expect that when I started this channel. I don't really know what it, yeah, that is a Gruen mug. So yeah, I don't know what I expected. So I have a couple questions and I just want to kind of tell the story of this channel. If you don't know, I mean, most people know most of the parts, but some people don't know. So anyway, okay, so first there are a couple announcements. Anyway, so the first one is I need a camera. So if you see me selling a bunch of stuff, I'm selling a bunch of stuff so that I can buy a new camera. I sold a bunch this week and there's still a big chunk to go. So if you happen to see cameras and stuff for sale, or lenses, you know, it's not always just guitars, but anyway, so that's the main thing. I'm also selling a bunch of guitars. I have a Fender American Pro 2 Strat with a maple neck. It's actually Miami blue like mine. I just ran out of time. I got this on a trade. I was going to make a video about it, but it didn't feel like a video that would do very well if I talk about is maple or rosewood. And in the end, I just like rosewood. I like the guitar that I already had. I also have a Mesa 112 combo. It's a Subway Rocket combo. It's a 112, has an Eminence speaker. It's really cool. I'm asking $550. I have a Fender Tweed Blues Junior from 2003. Very cool, very clean. If you're interested in that, let me know. You might have seen this on my Instagram. I have a Gibson J185. I'm asking $2,700 for this. This is a really magical maple jumbo. It's a smaller jumbo. It's not crazy. I also have a Taylor T5 12 string with a natural top. This is a beautiful and just really, really unique guitar. I also have a guitar that just came in, and a friend of mine looked at it, and he's not going to take it, so that means it's available for you guys. So it's a 2019 Martin D28. It's one of the reimagined. Very, very cool. So there we go. All right, with all of that said, I just want to kind of tell the story of my YouTube channel, how it came about, why did I start it, what am I doing with myself and my life. So with all that said, so when did I start my YouTube channel? Well, we'll do when and why. So I started my YouTube channel in the fall of 2016, beginning of 2017, I believe. That's my first video that came up. And I started my YouTube channel because I was living in New Orleans, or right outside of New Orleans. I was buying and selling tons of guitars, and I was just looking for people that were excited about the kinds of guitars I was finding. I was wondering if there's anyone that could just help you figure out how to buy guitars. Like, I knew enough, and I was buying like old Martins and old Gibsons and stuff. And I just wanted to, there was nobody I could find on YouTube that was doing what I do. So it was just one of those, a Thanos kind of moment. There's just one of those, like, no one's doing it, so I guess I'll just do it myself. So I jumped in and started making videos. My first video, we'll come back to this. So locations, how has that changed my channel? So as I started my channel, I was buying and selling guitars, and I would just keep guitars in my office. And so this is my first office. How do I point that way? Like this. So my first office was in Louisiana. And so it was this tiny little office, and my full-time gig, I was full-time, I was a regional sales manager for a company that sold high-tech gadgets in oil and gas. The problem my gig solved is that work is really dangerous for heavy industry. So I worked in what's called industrial hygiene, and then health and safety. And so basically, work is exceptionally dangerous for individual workers. So I sold all of the instruments that would measure the gases, the dust, the noise, the vibration, all the really techie stuff. I sold that. So basically, this first office here was just a really great place for me to have as a home base, because I had kids at home and I just needed a little bit of quiet, and I needed to be able to get away and to meet with people. And so this was my first office, and it's cool. There's still definitely some furniture and stuff that is still around. That coffee table is now in our living room, and I love this place. And so I bought this, I rented this place, and then I started buying and selling more guitars. And eventually that led to, now I have to come back to the middle, that eventually led to my second office in 2017 was when, no, this must have been 2016. I didn't double check these dates. It's either 16 or 17. But the general vibe was this office came about because I was a little too loud, and I needed to be on the first floor, even though this place was still on the second floor. I needed a place that was better for me to ship stuff, and that I could get UPS to come and pick stuff up every day. Eventually, and so what you see on the right side here is basically these are two offices that are right side by side, and where my face is, imagine there's a wall in between with a door. But so one of them was basically, I thought I should start making YouTube videos so I can sell more guitars. And I figured I should make a guitar store. And so I started a guitar shop, and it was called Bayou Music Exchange. So most of my earliest videos on YouTube are actually me talking about Bayou Music Exchange, which was this guitar shop. And that's where my friend Bo Ailman, who now works at Carter Vintage Guitars, he worked for me there. And then on the left, I was still doing, on the left, even though I'm pointing to the right, on that other side is where I would still have all of my stuff. And also, pay attention right up here is my dog. That's my dog, Ruby. And Ruby lives in New Orleans now. But she was our dog for a long time. Great dog. So, my first video was in January 2017. It was me buying a Martin, a 00028. Now, I have a confession that I've never actually told anyone. I didn't actually buy this guitar. I knew that I was going to buy it, or I thought I was going to buy it. It belonged to a friend's dad. And long story short, we basically thought I had a done deal, and then the deal fell through after this video. But this was the first guitar that I ever featured on the video, and it's kind of painful to watch this video now. It's not kind of, it's very painful, because I don't know how to run a camera. I don't know how to talk to a camera without looking like a lunatic. And I just keep saying the same thing over and over. I also play a full song at the end, so the video is too long. I don't say enough, and what I do say, I say over and over. But that video did pretty well. I think it had like 11,000 views fairly quickly, and so I just kind of saw like, well, this is cool. So yeah, like maybe I'll just keep doing this. And I think there was like 6 or 7 months between. Like, I don't think I actually thought too hard about making YouTube videos. I just thought maybe I'll put one up, see what happens. And I really forgot. Like, I don't think I ever logged in, because I mean, even now my YouTube channel is still just attached to my like just my email address. So anyway, there was never a plan of world domination, but as I moved on, I started buying cooler and cooler guitars, and I started paying more attention. I got hooked pretty early on into photography and videography and paying attention to cameras. So then this guitar actually has a really cool story, and I've never actually made a video about the story of how I got this guitar. This guitar I bought off a shrimp and boat in Lafourche, Louisiana, which is way down, way down on the Gulf in the really swampy, sandy bits. And I bought this guitar from a guy. It's very, very cool. This was a this was in 1937. I also bought a 58 from another guy in South Louisiana. But this 1937 was really cool. And that was the first guitar. Now, what's unfortunate, I started 2 channels, and I didn't actually know at the time how YouTube worked. And so basically I was using a domain like Jeremy at BayouMusicExchange.com, and I let all that stuff lapse. And what I didn't know is that when I let that lapse, it deleted all those videos. They're just gone. So there's probably 10 or 12 videos that if I dug around on my external hard drives, I probably could find. My first couple, actually, there's a couple videos in there that I like, and I wish that I should dig in and find them. But anyway, so I started making more videos and people started paying attention. And but then there were plenty that still have 0 views. Like this one is me talking about a 73 Telecaster. It's a really cool guitar, but it's uncomfortable. Like you can tell I'm trying to figure out how to use a camera, how to set up lighting and all that stuff. But with this, it's like I got like a sheet behind me over here, but it's just like the sheet is wrinkly and it doesn't go all the way to the either side of the frame. It just didn't work. I also didn't know how to like die cut logos. So my logo, I also didn't use the white logo. There are a million things that are wrong with this. And yeah, but I kept at it. I kept going, and yeah, and people kept kind of watching videos. And then I remember I'm still trying to build a guitar shop. But I'm starting to feel like, hey, this is actually, it's more helpful to help people figure out how to buy and sell guitars in real life. That is more satisfying for me. And so anyway, so by the time you get to this one, as I'm pointing to the right way, by the time you get to this, look at that beard. I would make fun of that beard and point it out, but it's basically like the same beard I have right now, which is astonishing. But, sheesh, my brain is broken. So this guitar was actually really cool. This was a early 60s. This is another one of those videos that disappeared. This is an early 60s Martin 0016 C. No, C16. It's a classical. Very cool guitar. Kind of similar to one of they're like the NYs that they would have been making, but this one's a gut string. Very cool guitar. Also in there, that other guitar over that white guard, that is the, what do we call that? The Thunderstrat. So it's a Thundercats logo. It's 2 Seymour Duncan P90s. That's a cool guitar. But yeah, I started making videos, and then the first video I made that actually blew up, that people actually really cared about and wanted to make fun of me for, I guess, or tell me that I was ripping off old people, was when I bought this guitar from Norm. This was a really cool and meaningful interaction. It was so, this is like the thing that if I could do this every day, if I could just meet with old people, hear their stories about these guitars that they own, connect with them, find these cool guitars, man, that would be amazing. I would love to do that. So this video was the first one that really kind of took off. And it was up for a while. It was up for like 6 or 7 months before it actually, like, people started watching it. Because I remember being like, I don't know if I can make a video better than that now when that video came out. And it took a long time for people to be into it and pay attention to it. But this one really kind of took off. And this is right around, like, I think I broke through 1,000 subscribers with this video, was when it finally kind of took off. And maybe that's not true. But around this time is when we started figuring out that, so remember the high-tech sales gig? I was selling all those gadgets, working in oil and gas. All right, are we still working? Are we... All right, I think we're back. OBS told me that it took pause there for a second. I'm sorry about that. So anyway, So I was part of this giant lead remediation project. I was selling this instrument that could measure lead in paint, soil, and dust. And so we ended up saying encoding overload. Okay. Okay, video is more fluid now. Okay. I think we're good. I'm gonna quit some other stuff so the processor is not freaking out. And then we'll get back to it. All right, so I finished up this project, and it got to where I knew that it was time for me to do something else. So I started a marketing agency. So I'd been in sales, but I was tired of traveling. I had little kids. I didn't want to be on the road anymore. So I knew that it was time for us to move. And so we were looking to move. We looked at Nashville for a long time. We really loved Nashville. And it just got to a place where it really was. We decided to not move to Nashville for a couple reasons. The biggest reasons being we have such a good community of friends here in the Valley. And we just wanted to be around people that could help our kids grow up into good adults. And so for us, that was being connected with our church and being connected with our community, but also being in a place that's really beautiful as I started paying attention to videography and photography and all that stuff. So all of that to say, we knew that we wanted to move. So we started moving. We came back here to the Valley. We rented this tiny little house. And this one I had two little kids. And so there was just not a chance that we could film anything or I could do any videos there. So I bounced around. I did a bunch of videos, but I started doing videos in my parents' house, in my dad's house. And so, you know, it's I'm in the living room. It was noisy. My dad was watching TV in the other room, you know, and he would just kind of walk through. And so this was just clearly growing pains. I'm trying to grow. At this point, I was like, I'm going to give this thing a go. I'm going to try and make this channel work and make it good for a source of income and to help me just kind of be around guitars more often. And so that was a really fun. This is by the summer and fall of 2018. We're here. I then found an office downtown in Harrisonburg. It was a really cool space, but unfortunately had a really bad landlord. This place didn't last very long, but it lasted long enough for us to buy a house. Now, there was another thing in here. So during this time, I'm trying to make YouTube work, but I still have to do a full-time gig doing other stuff or a part-time gig. The marketing agency just, it was too hard for me to switch from project to project and to move from industry to industry. And so eventually I was offered a job by a company in Harrisonburg. I was offered to be the marketing director for a very large company. And but I was still the only person on the marketing staff. And so I would work with, so it was a truck dealer group. We sold Kenworth and Volvo and Isuzu trucks. And so I was learning a ton about trucks during the day, and then I was trying to make these guitar YouTube videos. But it was just not a good fit for me at that place. Like, I'm not a corporate guy. I'm not a shirt and tie every day, which that's what they wanted. And I started getting a lot of pressure to be there all the time, you know, to be there until 6 o'clock in the evening. And so lots of boundaries were crossed. It just wasn't the right fit. So that's when we bought a house and I started making videos in the basement. And so this is like when I fixed up this Strat, this is like one of the first videos of me in our new basement. And but it was still like I'm working a full-time gig, and so I have little kids, and so I ended up having to do these videos like literally over like at night, and then I would edit them like at night later on. And so just not enough sleep, and then working a corporate gig that I hated. And so then that's when in early 2020, I officially I was like, okay, there's enough momentum on my YouTube channel. Somewhere along there, I also got monetized. I started making money from YouTube videos and started being a part of some brand deals and getting more compensation for things I was doing in the guitar world and on YouTube and in social media. So that's when I decided I was going to go to the Asheville Guitar Show. So that's when I went and hung out with John Schultz, or that was the plan. That was our goal. And there are a couple really interesting videos of me driving. And this is like right at the beginning of the pandemic and lockdown and stuff getting shut down. While we're driving there, the guitar show got canceled. And so I came home and I was like, I have to figure this out. I now have to make some money because I had officially left my sales gig and, I had officially left the marketing gig and, you know, wife, 3 kids, mortgage, crazy stuff. So we also had a baby in that same stretch. So now it's 3 kids, you know, there's a lot of things that have to happen to cover, you know, the world and the life that we're aiming for. So yeah, and then I then took out another wall in the basement, and the videos start getting better. I'm paying way more attention to how to make videos, what people want to see, want to know, and I also am getting connected with people in my community. So this guitar belonged to one of my neighbors and a friend of mine, and so I got to start making some cool videos about cooler guitars. And then that's when I started finding really cool guitars. Now these 2 guitars look very similar, but they're very different. So this was my 1967 Martin D28 that belonged to Raymond. Bought this from Joshua. This is when a video really blew up. This was probably my biggest video fastest, was when I bought a 67 Martin D28 from Raymond and his grandson Joshua. And then there was just a bunch of cool energy around this. There was also a lot of hostility, but you can see it in the back of this image. Basically, by this time, I've also painted the background. I fixed some lighting. Things are just a lot better. It just looks cool. It's just a much better looking video. And so that's the big thing, is that I'm just trying to kind of make better stuff as I'm learning and growing. Eventually I fixed the background. It's better lighting. It's all this stuff. And then I got to where by last fall, it's pretty clear I'm maxing out what I can do in this space. And there are a couple real big problems with making those videos in the basement in our house. One, it was pandemic and my kids were home and it's lockdown. And so there's this component in which, like, I'm right underneath the living room. So for them, like, I would need to film videos. I'm trying to make more videos and better videos and be available to people. And so basically it's just asking them, like, hey, can you go on a walk when it's freezing outside and it's a pandemic, so they have to wear masks if they go in any store. And so it's just like, it was asking way too much of my family to do this. So that's where it brought us up to early this year, where just a great old friend Caleb, we started having this kind of dream of turning what you're looking at now, what used to be a standalone garage outside that we never used, but it did have, the main thing that made it usable for us is that it had really great, like, it already had a panel out here with 60 amp service or 50 amps. And so basically, like, we could power this, we could do whatever we want out here. And so that's what we did. So over the last couple months, we turned what was just a gross, dingy old chainsaw repair shop, is what it was for the owner before us. And it's turned into just this really cool studio. And now you get to look at this. So now the studio is like official. Sweetwater came in, they sponsored a bunch of stuff. And so now it's a full-blown, super cool studio that I get to use every day. And now we're over the hump a bit. Like, we're making it. And that's the general story. And so along there, it's been a couple people subscribed, a couple dozen people subscribed. And then I had one blip with the first video of buying Norm's D18. And then years later, I had another big jump when I bought a D28. And so buying old Martin guitars has kind of been the main motivator for a lot of people finding my stuff. And so now this is the studio. I took this picture earlier today, and every guitar that you see is my actual guitar. Like, that's my, well, okay, there's one, the Guild, which I really want to own this Guild. And I hope that if I just keep, I hope that Guild just lets me own that guitar. So here's the studio. This is basically the shot that I'm looking at now. So this is the back of the studio. There's one door in. This guitar rack has filled up for sure all the way. And then you have my key light. And then you have, this is the studio over here. Like, when you come in the door, if you look to the right, this is where all the editing and photography and all the videography, that happens over on this side. And then this is the other direction. This is my workbench, where their air conditioner's up above it. And then all of the workspace and the storage and all that. I've just recently put a shelf in. I have a gajillion pedals. I still don't know what to do with all my pedals. But yeah, that's the general vibe. And then the guitar rack, which is very full. And there's probably 5 more guitars. No, there's probably 10 more guitars in the house. So yes, I'll jump back over here and check at the comments. Mark, thanks, man. So, have I any of you guys heard of Tanglewood guitars? I've heard of them. I've never played one. Fret Level says, so glad I don't have any kids. Don't see the obsession. Dude, have a kid. They're the freaking best. My kids are my joy. Like, they are just my heart. It's so good. But I love that this is, you know, the thing I love third most in the world, fourth most in the world, are guitars. And so yeah, congrats on 25K. Yeah, so that thank you. That's really cool. My daughter and son both play guitar. I'd love to go on the porch. Yeah, my kids are just starting to like plunk on pianos and ukuleles and stuff. And yeah. There's your sign. Yeah. No. All right. So how did I get the name Jeremy the Guitar Hunter? So if you watch my old videos, and I'll invite some of you who are nice and kind and funny and cool, you can go check out old videos and you'll see a bunch of things. The biggest thing you'll see is that I just didn't know what I was doing with guitar or with photography and videography or editing videos. There were a million things I didn't know how to do. I'm still not that great at them. I'm trying to get better all the time. But so in my early videos, it was like vintage guitar hunting, finding old guitars, Jeremy. Like, I didn't talk about myself as much as I just took on this like general, yeah. So because remember, I was trying to start a guitar shop, and then what I found was I would make videos, and then the guitars would sell, and then people would keep calling me asking if those guitars were for sale, and so it just, that didn't work. So somewhere along the way, when I realized that I wasn't going to keep the guitar shop open, that we needed to move, because basically, like, I needed to move for a bunch of reasons, and I didn't want to keep a brick and mortar guitar shop. It was just way too expensive. I have a video that is like why my guitar shop didn't work, but basically I moved where I wanted to switch to making a personal brand. I wanted to create a brand that was bigger than just one guitar shop. And so what I found was I wanted to do something. So I settled on the name Jeremy the Guitar Hunter, which actually that phrase or that concise statement came from my brother-in-law, who is a dear friend. So my brother-in-law is Donald Miller. So Donald Miller, if you're in the Christian world, he wrote a bunch of books like Blue Like Jazz and a bunch of memoirs in the 90s or like 2000s. And then along there, he started a marketing company. And so, long story short, he's my brother-in-law. We're dear friends. And he just knows my love for guitars. And he was trying to help me figure out how to package what I want to do in the world and how to frame it. And so he just kind of said it in passing, and it just stuck. And so I will give Don full credit for that. So I became Jeremy the Guitar Hunter. And what's interesting is there's this subtle change that not many people have noticed. In my early videos, it said Jeremy the Guitar Hunter, and I have changed my brand to now where it's Guitar Hunter. Because it's not about me. It very quickly became, this is about a community. This is about a thing. Because guitar culture is not kind to people that don't know what guitars are. There is so much needless gatekeeping and shaming when people don't know enough about guitars. And that's nonsense. And so I'm firmly coming, like I am coming at, with some aggression, coming at the part of guitar culture that says you don't belong. So I'm very much pushing out like, no, we're in this. Like, we're in this together, and we belong. And so, yeah. So that's how I came about the name Jeremy the Guitar Hunter. There's a picture. I forgot. What did I expect when it started? I think I expected to just make a couple of videos, show when I'm buying and selling cool guitars. I didn't really have any expectations that this, like, I did not I did not want to become a YouTuber for the first while. I thought it was just like, I like cameras, because I really liked cameras in high school, and I liked photography. And then somewhere along the way, I kind of figured out like, oh wait, because camera technology has also really changed. You all of a sudden could use a DSLR to do video. And so that was quickly entertaining to me and like made me curious. What are my favorite guitars I've owned in the last few years? I really loved that 55 D18 that I bought from Norm in Diamond Head, Mississippi. That was a really, really cool guitar. There's another guitar that I really loved, which was, I loved that Martin D1235. There's a picture of it in that video from Reverb. That's a guitar I shouldn't have sold. Yeah. So other guitars that I just am so thankful that I've gotten to own. Let me show. I'll do some show and tell of things that I still have. This is an incredible guitar. This is my Rude Revelator from Evan Dowie in New Orleans. I love this guitar. I'm so thankful that I get to own this. Evan built this for me. This was a gift after selling a bunch of his guitars. Another guitar that I'm so thankful that I own is this. This is my 1985 Pink Paisley Telly. I have promised to make a video. I found the original footage. One of the first videos I ever made, and then I didn't actually film because I didn't like it, was this 1985 Pink Paisley Telly. Yeah, so this is just an incredibly cool guitar. I bought this from a guy. I used to see someone play this guitar in the French Quarter in New Orleans, and I finally bought it. So let me check. So Evan loved Blue Like Jazz. It's a really cool book. Oh boy, my battery died. Hang on. Don't freak out. Be cool. Be cool. Don't freak out. We're good. I'm still here. Hold on. And we're back. Okay. Anyway, I'm super thankful that I get to own this Pink Paisley Telly. Sheesh, so many choices. Another guitar that I really love, and a video that's done really well, and a really cool guitar, and this is just like my hometown, this is the hometown hero guitar. This is my Huss & Dalton TDM. So this is a traditional dreadnought mahogany. So this is a very much kind of a Martin D18 style. This guitar is incredibly cool. I bought this from a guy. I found this guitar, and so yeah, I've loved this guitar for a long time. And I love Huss & Dalton, and the problem is I bought the wrong one when I was like 20 or 21. I ordered a guitar, and I just listened too much to the salesman, and we kind of bought his dream guitar, not mine. It was a large sound hole, red spruce top, rosewood back and sides, just bluegrass cannon. It was basically a Tony Rice spec, and that's just not my guitar. I can't sing loud enough. So anyway, yeah, so Jesse says, Jeremy, I love how positive you are and how concerned you are about other humans suffering. It's a relief these days from how tense the world can be, and I really appreciate your attitude. That's really kind. Thank you. Yeah, I think the trick is that there's like empathy and compassion, but there's a fire behind it. Like I'm willing to pick some fights, you know. But the Huss & Dalton TDM is just an amazing guitar that I really want to have forever, and I feel like I got 3 guitars in the last year. I've started to own or taken possession of 3 guitars that I think are astounding. So this is my Paget Model 1. This is one of the best people I've gotten to know in the last couple of years is Ben Paget, who makes these guitars. So this is, I was playing this one at the beginning. Let's see, what can I play? This is the Model 1 from Paget. So the main details on this is that this is a 13 fret guitar. So it's not 12, it's not 14. It has the feel and vibe and low end and bass of a 12 fret, but gives you a little more space. Has a really big lower bout. Very round, very cool. I just recently had Ben Paget put, so I took this back over to Ben, and he put a K&K Pure Mini in it for me. This is now, like, yeah, I'm going to make a video on this guitar next week. Yeah. So, another guitar that's absolutely worth talking about is my Waterloo WLS. This is a guitar that shocked me. I did not think that I bought this just thinking I can flip this and make a couple $100. But this guitar is just so cool. It is so incredibly light, and it's just beautiful. And this is a really great guitar. So this is made by Collings. Waterloo is made in Austin, Texas. And so this is a red spruce top. They said that they don't keep track necessarily of which models or which specific guitars, if you track the serial number, which have what spec. But there's no way that this is not red spruce. So I had my friend PW's Collings 001 ASB, and his had an Adirondack top, and the tops were identical. And it's interesting because they were made in the same factory. But this guitar is awesome. I bought this for $1,600. I bought this about a year ago. I think I'm gonna do I'll do a video about this one here soon. I have a lot to get done, and never enough time. So anyway, this is my Waterloo. I'll play it just a little bit. I have to see what tuning it's in. So this guitar is like a little out of tune, I'm sorry, but it's like beautifully warm and thumpy. It just does this. It just does a thing that lights my soul on fire. Also, I put a K&K Pure Mini in this, and this really is like one of the absolute best sounding acoustic guitars I've ever had plugged in. So, of all these guitars that you see around me, I don't technically own this one. I really, really want to own this one. This is one of the new Guild D55s. This one actually came off the road. This one was on tour with Alicia Keys and her band. East Indian Rosewood back and sides, spruce top, really, really great guitar. This is kind of the top spec for Guild, and I really, really appreciate Guild. One of the main things that shifted in my YouTube channel is that I didn't really I didn't start out this channel to talk about new guitars much, because I'm not a huge new guitar buyer, but that's starting to change. It also is changing. I never bought new guitars because I never had money, because I never had jobs that paid enough, or when I did have money, I had a family and kids. So maybe that will change. Maybe we'll finally get out a little bit in front of the financial boulder that, well, that's not the right way to say it, but you get what I'm saying. I've been really thankful to work with brands that are making guitars that I feel are really important for the world, for guitar players. And one of the brands that I have liked working with the most, because there are brands that I have not enjoyed working with, but Guild is really cool. They just want to make cool guitars, and they want real people to play them. So this one is like, this is their hard drugs, you know, like this is $38.99. So this is not a guitar for even most people, you know. So anyway, there are tons of Guilds. If you're looking for the best acoustic guitars between $500 and $1,000, $1,200, there is no option in my mind other than Guild, maybe Eastman. I mean, Guild is just coming to take over that part of it. So Sonia says, do I write and record my own music? I write lots of my own music. I rarely record it. So that's part of what's changing with the studio here. I've got some time coming up in September that I should have a little bit of a break. And so the plan is to finally kind of write and record some stuff. Do I own any newer electric guitars? Anything non-vintage style? Something else besides your DeLong? Doesn't look like made in the 60s or prior. That's an interesting question. Yeah, hang on. The last acoustic guitar that I got is this Tailor, because I have a lot to talk about and say and think about this guitar. But this is one of the AD17s. This is a solid spruce top, the black top finish, oven call back and sides. Really cool guitar. Has the expression system and has V-class bracing. So I want to talk a lot about that. So, do I own a guitar that is new and does not look like a vintage thing. No, not really. I just got rid of, there are a couple of guitars that are on my hit list for the next couple of years. The biggest one on my hit list is, it's a tie, but I think if I had to pick right now, I would buy a Frank Brothers. They have captivated my attention with just amazing designs, amazing configurations and setups, and just really cool. So I would love to own a Frank Brothers guitar. The one behind that is a Novo, especially like the Mirrors. I just love the big body. It's interesting, but I think Rhett has just, like, he's now like peed around, you know, like if you play one, it looks like, and I'd also want a big, I'd also really want like a sparkly one. So anyway, this is another one, and I'll finish talking about guitar brands that I've worked with and things I didn't expect but have been really thankful for. So the hopefully that answers your question. So along the way, I was really humbled when right in my time of need, like I'd left my sales gig, I wasn't making enough money. Sorry, I keep saying sales gig. I left the marketing job. I'd left benefits and retirement and health insurance and life insurance. I'd left all of that stuff because I was just, with my wife, we'd kind of decided like, all right, we're going to take a year or two. We're going to bank on Jeremy for a while. And so we've just been trying to make things work in that. So I was really thankful when Fender reached out. Fender said, hey, we really like your channel. Like their artist rep reached out and said, hey, like, what do you need? Can we send you some stuff? Do you need help with anything? And we're going to launch this new guitar called the American Professional 2. Now, in the meantime, they also sent me a Tone Master, which I missed that launch, but I got one of the Tone Masters a couple months after they were new. And I can talk about that amp more. That amp is amazing. I'm going to make a video soon where, like, the naysayers were wrong. I'll figure out a big dramatic way to say it. But the American Pro 2, this one came out, and what's so cool, it's just an interesting story. When I got this guitar, they told me that I was borrowing it. They said, you'll have it, we're going to pay you, and we'll pay you for your time and your energy and your video, but the guitar will come back to us afterwards, so just keep it clean, don't take any stickers off. So I did that. I had this guitar for probably 4 weeks, and I played it, and it, like, this is the best Strat I have ever played, and I think the best Strats, like, because this one doesn't have the boat anchor of tradition. It doesn't feel like it has to be an old color or an old style, or, you know, like, there's certainly definitely nods and things from this. But anyway, so for me, this guitar afterwards and my video, which it was super stretching to do a demo on a new guitar to be part of a launch, all of that stuff. A couple weeks went by and they never sent me a label. And I finally was like, hey, what's the deal? Like, I want to get this back. It's stressing me out having it around. And they said, hey, your video was so cool. We believe in you. Keep the guitar. So it was amazing. It was very cool. And I play this guitar all the time. I really, really like this Strat, which I'm not really a Strat guy. I'm a Telly guy or like a single pickup humbucker guy. Okay, let's keep going. There's another guitar over there, which I'll talk about. There will be a video coming out next week about, it's my 1970 Martin D41. And that's a guitar that I bought last year and I just never bonded with. And so I'm in a moral quandary on that one. So anyway. Whoa, Jason, that's a crazy story. I'd love to hear more about that. My grandpa bought the LG2 in 1952. My uncle ended up with it and played it for years until he passed. And then the guitar went missing and I tracked it down and I had it for about 5 years. That's awesome. Yeah. So Liam says, Jeremy, on your channel, are people more interested in electric or acoustic guitars? I think it's a good mix, but I would bet probably more people are into acoustic guitars. It's interesting as I've made more videos, when I make stuff about electric guitar brands or electric guitars in general, they just do a lot. They don't do nearly as well. And I don't know why that is. It bums me out. And it's, you know, I don't want what I make on YouTube to be influenced by what will be viewed more, but it's an art. You know, you got to figure out how to navigate that stuff. So James says, have I ever played an Elliott Capo? I have. I really like Elliott Capos. Not all Elliots are the same. So if you get like the Heritage, whatever their like really expensive one, that one really is the best. I had one that was just a little flimsy and rattly feeling, and so I got rid of it. Yeah. Damn lucky. I'd prefer an HSS, but I'm not kicking that out of bed. Yeah, man. Okay, so that's good to know that you prefer the electric content. It's interesting. Like, look at in the last month the videos that I've done. Like, I found the 4 vintage Martins way out in the mountains. That one's at like 30,000 views now. And then you look at, I went to Mythos Pedals, which I don't think that anyone else has done like a tour of Mythos New Place or like gone to Novo. Like, those should be big, big eyeball videos. And I think that one hasn't even passed 1,000 views yet. So anyway, so those are some of my favorite guitars that I've owned. Hang on. Yeah, so those are some of my favorite videos. So what was the hardest skill to learn along the way? The hardest thing, without any doubt or question, is learning how to use a camera and learning how to edit a video. I used my phone for a long time, and then I used a camera on auto mode, and then I used iMovie in my computer, and then eventually I just got to where I knew what I was doing. But I'm very much a specialist. So things I'm interested in, I get super nerdy about, and then I dig in and just learn as much as I can about them. So I've gone full force. I'm in deep in camera stuff now. Like, I care about cameras a lot. That's probably outside of, like, when I'm not doing guitar stuff on YouTube. When I'm watching YouTube, for the most part, what I'm watching is camera stuff. Yeah. So what friends have I made along the way? This is amazing. This is one of my favorite things. So over the last couple of years, the closest friends that I've made that I now, like, I talk to most days, I'll talk to some contingent of these. Number 1, John Schultz from True Vintage Guitar. He has become a dear friend. We find each other hilarious, which is helpful, but he's just been so gracious and kind to me because he knows there are certainly things that I know more about him, know more about than he does. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. But the thing with John is that he is just a wizard. He's just an encyclopedia, especially of Gibson stuff. A couple years ago, I found an uncirculated, like properly, fully uncirculated D28 from 1966. And I posted a picture on my Instagram. This is when I was still using my personal Instagram before I switched over and created Jeremy the Guitar Hunter. And and John found my info and somehow called me. Like, he knew someone that knew me, and someone got my phone number and texted me. And then we got on the phone and we talked, and we just became fast friends years ago. So that was like 2018. We became pretty close. And since then, we're now like, he's somebody. Now, if you don't know what's going on with John Schultz, there's a lot of drama, and it's really unfortunate. So his account, a really big account, I think 38,000 followers on Instagram. His account, and this is speculation, but something happened that his account was deleted or disabled. And when he went through recovery and all this stuff, they sent him an email in German. And so what it would appear to be, and this is speculation, it appears like his account was hacked. Something happened. There was like a mass reporting, like a bot that says like, this is immature content or this is inappropriate content. And then it just triggers the bots to delete the account. So John's account was deleted as of last Wednesday or like 10 days ago. And so it's really not okay. And it's really bad. And I mean, it is kind of the lifeline of John, not the lifeline of John's business, but one of the main ways, because he started a YouTube channel, but it's really, really hard to start a YouTube channel that is successful and people pay attention to and you get people to subscribe to. And so it's like, he realized it was going to take way too much time and energy to build that thing up. So he decided to stay with Instagram. It's done well for him. But anyway, so I don't know how to help, which is really hard. Other friends I've made along the way, Mike Adams, who runs Pusheen, Puisheen. Mike is hilarious. He and I really like each other, really get each other. We have really similar upbringings, kind of in punk rock, and then just some other similar experiences. I really like Mike. He's amazing. He's hilarious. And I like his channel a lot. I've also become friends with Rhett Shull. Rhett has been a good friend. He had me on his podcast, early 2018. He's just been really great, and he's connected me to a bunch of people. Zach Broyles, who is another really good friend. Zach and I feel like there are people that you meet that you're like, oh, like we do the same thing and we're friends. And then there are other people that you meet and you're like, regardless of what we do, we would just be friends. Like we just find each other really funny. And Zach has just been really kind to me. He gave me one of his the Mythos pedals, the Oracle analog delay, which is an amazing pedal. Who else have I become friends with along the way? I've become friends with so many of you. Many of people who are patrons, or just we're connected on Instagram, or I see people in the same comments on my YouTube videos. It is amazing. As someone that I would love, I say fill the world with music and friendship. What's so cool is how many people I really have become friends with. Now, the unfortunate truth is I do not get to be friends with everybody. Like, I am limited. And that's one thing I'm learning more and more every single day, is just how limited I am in my ability to actually maintain meaningful friendships with people and connect and spend time and see in person. But anyway, this has been amazing. I didn't plan on it, but I've become friends with people that I really care about along the way here. So, what have I learned about people? I've learned a lot about people through this. I've had amazing experiences. I've had amazing experiences. One of the most profound is the entire interaction that happened with Mike Quibble, who bought the 67D28 from me, Raymond Stepp, and then Josh. And what all happened in that. So if you don't know, I bought a 67D28 from Raymond. I tried to talk him out of it. I bought the guitar from him. Now I understand I took some heat. So we'll talk about what I learned from people not liking what I'm doing or not liking how I'm doing things. But I bought a guitar from Raymond, and I had it. And unfortunately, I was like, oh, this is a big, boomy Brazilian dreadnought. That's not my thing. It's also like me owning up over the last couple of years to the fact that I just prefer mahogany guitars. I don't like super boomy or super loud guitars. And so anyway, Mike bought this guitar from me, and we quickly became close. And then he just developed this whole caper where he's like, hey, I'm going to get this guitar fixed, and I want to go back, and I want them to play it. I want to hear them play it. And then that snowballed into, well, I want them to keep it for a while until Raymond gets old. And then it just came to, I just want them to have this guitar for free. So Mike, and the amazing lion heart that guy is, he's just an unstoppable force of good in the world. So Mike giving the guitar back to Raymond, that was an amazing thing. That's the other, if you haven't watched those videos, sheesh, that's the best thing. So if I could do anything, I'd want to do more like that. What have I learned about people? I've learned about that some people are the worst. I've learned a couple things. So, like, people are image bearers. Like people were made in the image of God. And so there's an amazing component that people are captivating, and they're wonderful, and they're really important, and they're really significant. And people also can be the worst sometimes. I've taken a lot of heat for stuff, which that's fine. Like, when you get, when I'm in front of 25,000 people, like, several million people have watched my videos now. If you look at like the total numbers and metrics, and there are people that are hurt and broken and angry, and there are people that just value very different things than I do, and there are people that have totally skewed perceptions of me, and so I can't manage that. I can't even, but anyway. So I've taken a lot of heat from people for a lot of things, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But yeah, so overall I've learned that people are far more interesting, captivating, worth attention, worth time, worth listening to. And so that's also, my personality. I'm very much, like, if you're familiar with the Enneagram, like, I am an Enneagram 2, which is very unusual for men. It's the lowest number of, if you look at all the personality types, like someone who leads with like tons of empathy and listening to people. Apparently I'm a rare bird in that. But yeah, so that's what I've learned about people. People are wonderful, and they're also kind of the worst. I have had to block some people. I've had to block people that are just hateful and bent on, yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna give that much air. So what have I learned about myself? So over the last couple of years, I've been self-employed since I was 24, basically, which being self-employed is stressful. It is incredibly stressful. Like I mentioned earlier, like my eyes twitching because, I mean, life is stressful being self-employed. I just hired an editor. I'm trying to make money work so that I get to pay people living, wages that leaves dignity for them. I'm also trying to prepare for my kids to grow up and go to college, and there's a lot. So what have I learned about myself? I've learned that there's a fire in my belly, that I'm able to work way harder than I thought I could work. I've learned that there is a resilience in me that will not die. And I'm very thankful for that. I did not do much to cultivate or to stoke that. I'm very thankful. Like I believe that much of who I am is a gift from the Lord and from my parents and my mom, and so yeah, I've learned, yeah. It's like what I've learned about myself is I've learned my limitations in a lot of ways. I've learned I'm not ever going to be an amazing guitar player. Like that's where like Rhett, who is a good friend, Rhett Shull, he's a phenomenal guitar player. And the truth is, I'm never going to be like, or him or Zach, or, there are many people that I will never be as good guitar players as. But I have strengths that they don't have, especially around the relational side of, I think that's what my channel really offers the world, is a view into like how great and meaningful relationships can be, and how like when you sit down and listen to people and connect with people, there's something that lights on fire inside of you. So anyway, I've learned a ton about myself. Did any videos not work out? Oh yeah. And there were a couple videos that even made it live that I ended up taking down. And one people have noticed, another one people have not. There were two that I'm really thinking about, but yeah, I'll let you kind of figure out which ones are which. So locations, how has moving changed the channel? It's changed a ton. So when we were in New Orleans, it was really easy to find really cool guitars all the time. Every day, if I had a pocket full of cash, I could go find a cool guitar that people would be excited that I would find. And I would also find really interesting people. And but we needed to move. And so we needed to move to a place that has way less cool guitars and maybe even less cool people. New Orleans is such, and South Louisiana is such just a like vivacious and like exciting and eclectic place, and it makes eclectic people. And so yeah, it's been a big shift for sure. So your location is one of the most helpful ways to figure out if you're trying to buy and sell guitars regularly. It's one of the most helpful things to keep track of. But yeah, our places have changed, and also like the place that I film videos has really helped the most. I feel like I'm finally at a place now in this studio where I now know how to light a video properly, like good light here and a little light behind me, and I'm finally getting to where I know how to make a good video with good audio and all that stuff. And so those locations, and you can see along the way, you can see I'm trying, and I've been I'm very grateful for how gracious people have been along the way. What's your job? How's your job changed? So yeah, I talked about this earlier. I always had a full-time gig on the side trying to do videos, and then about a year and a half ago, I made the jump. And we finally like made it, I think. Like we're still not quite there. I still need to figure out ways to make more reliable and predictable income. That's the stressful part for me and for my family, is like the deep troughs and then the good days of like when things happen. And all to do it in a way that I'm not compromising my integrity, that I'm not doing only sponsored content, and I'm not only doing things that people are paying me to talk about or think about or say. So yeah, that's where it's been tricky. The entrepreneurial component has been complicated in this. Where is my channel headed next? My channel is growing, which I'm very thankful for. I would love, so I'm right on the precipice of like, it's making enough that my family can make it work. But the next thing for my channel, I want to get out a lot more. I want to see a lot more people. I want to connect with people. I want to find cool guitars. There's a component of kind of American Pickers-ish that I would love to do more of when I get to go see people. So I just hired an editor. So I had an editor for a couple months and it was wonderful. And then she got a job, and so I went back to editing my own videos, and it felt, that's the most stressful time of my YouTube career has been the last couple months, where I'm just stretched beyond my limits. And so I hired a guy. He's wonderful. So he's a photographer and a videographer. He's really talented. And so he's starting to work on a couple projects. The first videos he's doing will start coming out next week. And he's going to start also doing stuff running the live show for me so that I can just not think about the lights and the mics and the computers and the camera. He's going to run that stuff so that I will just kind of get to be here. I also want to do a lot more interviews. I'm starting to launch more. I want to do more of those videos, the guitar huntry in another country, because there is a large international contingent that watch my YouTube videos. And so it's not helpful if I'm just talking about buying and selling guitars in the US, which the US is impossibly large as well, and it's very different. So I'm going to start doing more how to actually buy and sell guitars in other countries. So I've talked to my friend Shadi, who is in Egypt. We're going to talk about buying guitars in Africa. That's very different. And I understand Egypt, Africa, preposterous. It's giant. So as I connect with friends and I make friends in other countries, other parts of the world, I want to start doing those kinds of videos. I'm going to get out and buy and sell a lot more. There's some other really exciting, some kind of collaboration work going on behind the scenes, because I've been in small YouTuber mode for so long where, like trying to be scrappy and connect and hope that a bigger YouTuber would give me a chance, which never actually worked out. Like I never got a giant YouTube. So I did get some. So Tony Policastro, he and I have become good friends over the last couple of years. Tony has shared a bunch of stuff and they've done a bunch of stuff. I don't think it's caused huge growth to my channel, but I'm really thankful. The big lesson that I have learned along the way, and if you're an entrepreneur, if you're self-employed, I think we're in this together. Somewhere along the way, I realized help is not coming. No huge YouTuber is going to come along and say, oh my gosh, you're doing such a good job. Let me show you off to millions of subscribers and you'll get a ton of people following you. No, it has been freaking scrappy. I realized no one's coming to help. If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to take care of my family through guitar videos, it is going to be through me learning how to make good videos, me learning to make exciting, interesting content. And that's what gets me. There are plenty of people who are much more technically proficient that have smaller channels than I do. And what I found is you have to work really hard to be compelling, to be interesting. Doesn't mean change who you are, but it does mean work really hard to present what you have to offer the world, to make the world a better place in really clear terms that people can understand, connect with, and invite other people into. So yeah, that's where I'm headed next. What's my dream project? I think this is the last question. My dream project is to work more closely. There are 3 groups of people I want to work with better. And I feel like I finally have tools for the season that's coming up on how to do this. Number 1, I want to help people find the right guitars. I have a couple tools in the way, or in the works that are coming. Some e-courses and my website now. I want people to find the right guitars. So now you can schedule time with me on my website in the contact, in the jeremytheguitarhunter.com/contact. And you can look at my schedule, you can see what works for you, and you can get time together with me. There are a couple options there. That's been a really meaningful thing for me. They've been really fun. I've had probably 5 or 6 a week for the last 3 weeks, and they're really cool. So if you want to interact, that's the first one. The second one is I want to help guitar shops create community around their shops. This is the thing I need to work on more. I'm also going to do courses on how to find your right guitar, how to tone woods, I'm overwhelmed at that part of the work because I just don't know when or how to launch the course or to write and create and produce the course. Hopefully my editor with Dylan, it'll be really helpful. So I also want to help guitar shops create marketing systems that will help create community. So I'm going to start launching more of that. And then the last thing, working with guitar brands. So what's my dream project? My dream project would be involved in the design and launch of guitars, to be more involved with helping guitar dealers create community, just more of what I'm doing, helping create music and friendship in much larger ways. A dream project over the next year would be if I could create almost a tour of guitar shops or communities where we could do meetups, that we could hang out, we could get 10 or 15, 20 people, 50 people together to hang out, talk about guitars, talk about music, to do jams, to just create community around the US and Canada. That's dream gig. So let me turn these off. I'm going to come back over here to the chat. And oh boy, we've already been going over an hour. That's amazing. Okay. William, if you can do a chat with video. Yeah, we just had an hour yesterday. It was so fun. Yeah, William was in there. We talked so much cool stuff. I was thinking about you today. I want to pick your brain on some Barden pickups. Because I want to build some more guitars. Haven't built guitars in a long time. Donna says, love your channel. Your love for guitars is apparent and contagious. New studio, awesome. God's blessings to you. Please keep sharing with us. I too am addicted to cameras and now guitars. Hey, man, yeah. So if you're nerdy and you care about these things, I'm saving up to get a Canon EOS R6. I have a 6D Mark II. So I basically I have a camera that does everything I need to do, but it's starting to break a little bit. I have used this thing. I think I spent like $1,300 on it 2.5 years ago. And 3.5 years ago. I have run it through its paces. And it's been great. But yeah, Paul says, Jeremy, I've been playing guitar for 45 years and some think I play very well. In truth, no matter how good you are, we are all students on different levels. Guitar playing is a life's journey. That's really great. What is a preamp for the K&K? I use, let me grab my pedal board. I just put together an acoustic guitar pedal board and I took apart my electric pedal board because I need to make a bigger one. So this is now my acoustic pedal board. So this, first in the signal chain is the LR Bags Venue DI. And so with this is my tuner, this is my EQ, this does so many things that I need to do, phase, gain, all that stuff. Then coming over here, I use this, I pretty much ignore the EQ on this, but then I'm using the effects coming out of the Fishman tone deck. And so what I love about this is it's a great reverb and a great either chorus or tremolo, and it's pretty easy to use. There's also a boost. There's a boost on both, so it's kind of redundant. I use the boost on the Fishman a little better, and then I run the XLR out on this guy, and this is awesome. The other thing is, so if you have a K&K, one of the pivotal things you have to have, and so the Fishman doesn't do it. No, if you have the Session does have a high pass, low cut, however you look at it. So if you take the low cut, so the Fishman has a tone cut here, and so with that you can cut out. I set mine at 40 hertz, which just gets the real low woofy stuff, and it just cleans it up. Ed, my barber's in here. That's funny. That's awesome. Ed, I'm glad you're here, man. And okay, yes. So yeah, Ben. So Evan says, sounds like you should team up with Ben at Paget to the Tone Woods education. That would be really cool and really fun. He's the closest, both like in proximity and also just friend wise over the last 2 years. He and I just we know a ton of the same people. We kind of grew up in similar towns, maybe 2 hours apart. And he actually went to high school with my best friend, which is crazy. Shane from In the Blues, Joe Barnes sound amazing. I prefer the Frail and Blues specials a little more than a close second to the Danny Gatton pickups. Awesome. Shane, that was another person that reached out. Shane sent me a message on Instagram, and then he and I have been kind of catching up. Because I did a video right around the same time, what the problem for guitar YouTube channels. Anyway, so one of the things I'm really excited about is that I'm getting to where, it sounds so vain, I know it. But basically, I'm getting to kind of look at guitar culture and point out the parts that are really unhelpful. Most often personified by gatekeeping, shaming people, gear shaming, but also just knowledge shaming. Like, oh, you didn't know that Honduran rosewood, blah, blah, blah. It's not helpful. And it takes people standing up because it's insecurity for them, or it's like pride. It's just not helpful. So it's been really cool kind of getting more involved with guitar culture at large. That's the like hope, dream, goal. If I could get to where I help people find the right guitars faster, help guitar brands make guitars that are just in tune with real guitar players. Yeah, that would be awesome. So, yeah. So, what are the Acoustic Guitar Forum getting involved there would help your channel? I know. I don't like forums. Yeah, I struggle with forums. I'll do more. Reddit, the guitar subreddit is terrible. The gear page is not my thing. It's just a lot of loud opinions. So anyway, Giovanni Alabi says, I would say thanks to this channel, I was able to learn about other guitar brands like Larrivee and others. Oh man, thanks, Gio. Shay Griffin says, any thoughts on Danny Davis guitars? No, I don't know. I don't know them. So Epiphone Hummingbird, thoughts. The Inspired by Gibson are really good. They still are very much an import guitar. Like, I don't think they would. They're a really good intermediate step, but they don't sound like or quite feel like a proper Gibson. But like a Gibson Hummingbird, I mean, that's a real expensive guitar, right? They're $3,200, $3,500. I mean, that's more money than most anyone will ever spend on a guitar. Paul says a Collings D2H or a Martin HD 28V. Collings D2H. I mean, that's just like, I'm always going to lean more unique. But that's a really cool guitar. Now, I feel like I do have other things to share, talk about. I have an exciting surprise. If you're ready, I have a surprise that comes for you guys. You will get absolute first crack at these, and I've been wearing it the whole time. You didn't even know. So this is one of the coolest things that is now coming about. This is my friend Elliot at Wonder Records. Elliot is one of my oldest friends. Like, really, like, we were friends in middle school. Elliot is amazing. He has a guitar shop called Wonder Records here in town. There are Guitar Hunter hats. Now, there are only 25 of them. 24, because I'm keeping one. Look, they are literally all over here. Let me turn you so you can see. Getting fancy here. So see all of those? Oh boy. Oh, what happened? Oh, we're back. I got fancy. I think I disconnected the USB. I'm sorry. But there are all of these hats over here. So, merch drop. Do it. All these hats. They are so cool. So they're a 5-panel. They're a foam front. Let me turn this back off. So they're a foam front. They're a patch on the front. They're really, really well done. The hats are really comfortable. Now, I have a giant head. So if you ever look, like, I'm like maybe a 2. For me, like, I'm usually 2 snaps. 1 snaps just make me insecure. It feels like the watermelon, and there's just the one, and it could explode at any moment. But, so they're a good hat. I have a giant head. They fit me with 2, so most people, they're going to fit really well. These are really cool, really comfortable. I'm excited. This is my first drop. Yeah, so there's 25. Now, there will be more in the future, but there are only 25 right now, and I want you guys to have first crack at them. This is also a pivotally, like, this is a way that you will make sure these videos get to keep happening. I don't ever want to feel like I'm selling stuff, but this is like a cool hat that you will wear all the time. Because this is like the perfect thing for what I'm into. So, anyway, sorry my camera broke the internet. But, anyway, what do you guys think of the hats? Where's my coffee? I'm like, can you see that? I started with a full cup of coffee that was hot, and now I'm like 2 inches down. So, there are also shirts, also guitars for sale. But, yeah, so let's just do the last like 5 minutes or so, just questions, comments. Yeah, when did you jump in? How long have you been following Guitar Hunter videos? What do you, also, if there's something that you feel like I'm missing, let me know. Because it's very tricky, because I generally have kind of a couple different kinds of videos. I have the videos that are like directly helpful, and then there are the videos that are just kind of documenting what I'm doing, and then I get kind of out to like skills or philosophy or things that you need to know. So if I'm shipping to Europe, sure, I'll ship a hat to Europe. Let me change the shipping real quick, and it should add an option for the UK. No, not the UK. Rasmus, where are you? You're in Netherlands? Brad, yeah, how do you like the guitar? How do you like your AD17? I can play mine. Yeah, this is the Taylor AD17e. I got this because it is just like full-blown, like Taylor tone. My brain's not working. Can't think, play, produce. Man, yeah, so, okay, Rasmus, I'll send you a link later, or if you buy it, then just send me your address, and I'll cover shipping to you, because I like you. Rasmus just finished building a guitar that is astounding, and he's amazingly talented. He's a young guy, and sheesh, so cool. All right, so Rasmus is in the Netherlands. You'll send me your info. Yeah, so Ian said, oh, Ian, yeah, got the DoD phaser. That's a cool one. That's a cool phaser. Came from Josh Scott. I couldn't find it came from him. And yeah. Wait, what? Jonathan, what got stolen? So Shay says, are you seeing manufacturers lean towards a design of an OM body with a dreadnought depth? Yes. There are tons of new guitar builders, and none of them are building dreadnoughts. It's kind of amazing, and it's really interesting. I think that just dreadnoughts have been done. I mean, they have been done and done and done and done for 40, 50 years, and I think people are just a little out of it. So, okay, so Bones Malone, what a name, says, do you like the Taylor 214? I do. I bought one in like January or February of this year. I have a video about it. Go check it out. And it's a really good sounding guitar. I think Taylors have a really specific voice. Now, they're definitely not for everybody. They're not as bassy. They're not as like poke out in the mix. They're really good for just kind of living in the mix, you know? And that's where I think this guitar is just cool. And yeah, so it was a little impulsive. Let's call it a little impulsive. But basically, I got this because like there's 4 or 5 videos that I need to make talking about this. And maybe I'll give it away when I'm done. I don't know. Okie dokie, little folkies. This has been so fun. I am so thankful. It is, so I will say, moving forward, my goals, hopes, dreams for this channel, I want to be very careful that this is not for vanity. But I think that the message of music and friendship is a message that a lot more people need to hear. And they also need to see. They need to see people buying and selling guitars with dignity. Like, I'm not lowballing people. I'm not taking advantage of people. I'm not buying low and selling high as a way to take advantage of people. Now, I do sell guitars. Like, I'm taking some heat right now from a couple people for even the idea of thinking about selling my Martin D41. There will be a video about that, all about, like, how do you sell a guitar that has nostalgic value, and so all of that. Yeah, so I want my channel to grow. I would love for my channel to be a couple 100,000 people, a couple 100,000 views. Now, how do I get there? There are a couple ways to get there. One is super clickbaity, just like commoditize everything I'm doing. That's not me. That's not my style. You guys know me. I think it's just continuing to make like the coolest and most compelling content. So that's what I'm working on. But every time you like the channel, it's incredibly helpful. Every time you share this with somebody and you buy merch and those things, that is all helpful. So anyway, I've run out of things to say. That's all I got. This has been it's been really cool. David says, I'm getting ready to buy my first guitar as an adult. I still have my childhood guitar. You've been a valuable resource, a valuable source of info. Great videos. Thank you. Fret Level Midnight says, how did someone into pop punk get into acoustics? That's a good question. I was really into punk rock. Then I got into hardcore bands. Then I was into metal bands. Then I was in a spaz metal band. I went from, and send me a message on Instagram if you're on Instagram, and I'll send you a video. I sent one to Smooth Jazz Dave earlier today. I was in a metal band, and I started hanging out. I was hanging out at the guitar shop, and a guy who I really love and respect and worked at the guitar shop before me. He was actually the one that recommended that I get the job when he left the guitar shop. But he was a blues and acoustic player, and I was just kind of complaining about how we worked so hard to do all these harmonies and to do this metal band. But, like, you're in a basement and people are drunk and it's super loud, and it's so loud and there's so much distortion you can kind of hide behind that stuff, or people will miss the technicality of what you're doing. So anyway, I just got kind of frustrated with that, and he said, like, hey, why don't you just try kind of music that you have nothing to hide behind? And so that's when he kind of challenged me. He's like, hey, like, what can you do with nothing to hide behind? You should learn how to play an acoustic guitar more, which I always liked acoustic guitars. Like, my first guitar I really saved up a bunch of money for was a Martin D41, a Martin D15. So I always liked acoustic guitars, and I was playing like in like youth group and on a worship band, but I was just playing like straight chords. I loved playing punk rock, Blink-182, AFI, Alkaline Trio, Strike Anywhere, Darkest Hour, Coheed and Cambria, that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so all of that to say, like, I just took 6 months and I learned how to play acoustic guitar, and I got really hooked on it. And so that's when I took a pretty hard left turn into like Neil Young. And then I got into, there were other people who were in the same boat, like they were coming from heavy stuff into acoustic guitars, like Dashboard Confessional, which is a kind of a dorky, not dorky, I'm going to own it. I like Dashboard Confessional. I don't care what people say. He, same thing, came from hardcore bands, came from metal bands, went into that. Dallas Green from City and Color, he was in Alexis on Fire. And so, yeah, that's how I got into punk rock and metal, and or from punk rock and metal into fingerstyle, deep feels acoustic guitar stuff. I also just love like the physical experience of an acoustic guitar. It's really cool, and like it's very different. And there are electric guitars that like feel like that give you the feeling and the smell and the vibration and the resonance and the physical experience without an amp, but they're much more rare. And so for me, I would rather have like a really cool acoustic guitar. So, okay, there was another question in here. So Insomnia Kid Monkey says, I always feel, I always said I found your channel a little too late. I missed the Zager video. It's come up on Reddit. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So that issue has been resolved and I can't talk about it. But my video is gone. So, Fred Level Midnight says, you the exact same punk pop taste as my wife who's 2 years younger than you. Hey. Okay, yeah. AFI for me. AFI, the used, those are the ones, Under Oath, they're not pop punk. But like that's the kind of era I came up in, that early, mid 2000s. Back? Okay, sorry, I don't know why it keeps cutting out. Okay. John Denver, so maybe want to learn how to play guitar. Yeah. Denver recommendations on thumb picks. I like the Hercos. This is my favorite kind of thumb pick. They like are shaped like a pick. And then you can put them on your thumb. And they free you up to do all kinds of stuff. I also like, I forget the other, I like these Golden Gates. Yeah. She got kicked out of a show for fighting... out of a used show for fighting. That is funny. Liam says, do you like a 12 string? I love 12 strings. I just got one from Orangewood. It's a really cool one. It's not the Echo. I think it's the Echo, and it's their 12 fret with a pickup. Very cool. I haven't done a video on it yet. I will. But yeah. So do I prefer an OM or a triple O? I prefer an OM for the longer scale length. Which is basically like my Paget, is a longer scale length. So it just gives you a little more tension and a little more volume. But triple O's, I mean, you can't lose with either one. Triple O's are wonderful. Triple O's feel, to me, they feel more like a Gibson J45. Anyway, very cool guitars. Interesting side note, I really like Elixir strings, NanoWeb bronze for 12 strings. Because okay, yeah. Is Foster bronze hard to get? No, I don't think so. I don't know. But, okay. We did it. We did an hour and a half. 25,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you enough. I really, please hear this and receive this to the center of you. I am so glad that we're in this together. And I'm really thankful for the friendship and the kindness and the generosity that you all have just shown to me. I have never worked as hard as I'm working right now, through my YouTube channel, through my website, through my social media. I am trying to fix, most people, it takes way too long to find the right guitar. And so I'm trying to figure out ways to create tools that will help you find the right guitars faster. Courses, marketing systems if you're a guitar shop, guitar brands if you're trying. That's the hole I'm trying to plug in the world. So I am so thankful for all of you. Thank you. This is, it's really meaningful. And you guys are the best. I'll see you. Thanks so much. I'll see you later. Bye.